Morning, basketball fans, and welcome to UNC Asheville Bulldog Update. Hi, I'm Mike Gore, your host for today's show. Along with me is the head men's basketball coach of the Bulldogs, Nick McDevitt. Bulldogs at 8-8 on the season. Coach, we started out 1-7 against a very tough schedule, but boy, we were playing hard in those games. And I'm not stunned that we're 8-8 at this point. I know that you aren't either.
Well, our team continued to improve, kept their effort and their attitude stayed consistent, and we just kept getting better and better as each day passed. And fortunately, we're starting to put some things together. Some guys are stepping up, playing well, and our record's starting to improve now. As you mentioned, we're 8-8, and really like where this team's headed.
Big South Conference play started last week, and we look at both games. Both Bulldogs wins. UNC Asheville opens at Gardner-Webb, wins at 81-77. Coach, a great win at Gardner-Webb. We'll look at the highlights here in a second, but just a great gut check win. Wins on the road are not easy, are they?
They're not easy, and particularly conference road wins. They're tough to come by. We had another slow start down at Gardner-Webb, which is not unusual for us. We've had a couple of slow starts over the last 4 or 5 years, and this year was no different, but fortunately we were able to climb out of that hole and come up with a big win.
All right, Coach, let's look at the highlights of UNC Asheville and Gardner-Webb on Wednesday, January the 8th, down at Paul Porter Arena. And as Coach McDevitt said, Bulldogs off to their customary slow start at Gardner-Webb, but Corey Littlejohn gets a big bucket for the Bulldogs early. And here's DJ stepping up. They left him open, and he knocked it down.
DJ has the ability to make those shots. Obviously, we prefer him playing closer to the bucket, but he does have the ability to knock those down. And a real strong move by Giacomo Zili right there. Jacques and Corey Littlejohn both provided a huge spark for our team down at Gardner-Webb, and those two young men were a big reason we were able to come out of there.
Bulldogs fell behind 23-9 in the first half, but then after 9 minutes, but then rolled after that with a 27-7 run, Coach. And it was a 14-point deficit, and then you're up by 6 at the half.
We just continued to battle. We didn't go away from our game plan, things that we do. We knew we weren't going to get 14 points back in one possession, and so we just continued to, possession by possession, continue to do what we do, and before you knew it, we were right back in the game.
Julio Roberts did some good things in the first half in that game, and they're just to play before finishing. Now we're in the second half, and the Bulldogs got off to a good start, up by 6, and quickly got the lead up to 12. There's Andrew Rousey with his first 3 of the game.
It's a tough shot right there, and he has the ability to make some tough shots. Great pass right there from David Robertson to Jerron Lane. That's a heck of a catch, too, by Jerron.
Jerron, a career-high 26, and there we see him knocking down his only 3 of the game. And 19 points the second half for Jerron Lane. And there's Andrew Rousey again.
Jerron really stepped up as this game got into crunch time, did a great job for us. Huge find right there by DJ, finding Andrew Rousey in the opposite corner. And as I mentioned, Jerron just down the stretch made some huge plays. He and DJ, 2 fifth-year seniors. There's a bucket to put us up 2 with less than 30 seconds to go. And then both Jerron and DJ down the stretch going 4 for 4 from the free throw line when both were 1-and-1s, our clutch free throws.
Yep, DJ knocks down these 2 free throws. As you talked about, Nick, it was a 2-point game when the Bulldogs got the stop and DJ got fouled and stepped up 1-and-1. That is not easy on the road, and he knocked him down. And here we see the Bulldogs get one more stop.
Huge stop for us. That game wasn't over. It wasn't over. DJ made a huge hook shot in the lane that put us up 2, but even as we got another stop, there was still 14 seconds to go in the game. So for both DJ and Jerron to hit those free throws down the stretch were big for us.
Yeah, the Bulldogs really executed offensively down the stretch. Obviously, Gardner-Webb, the Bulldogs got the lead up to 12, but you knew they'd make a run. This is a good basketball team down there in Boiling Springs, and of course they made the run and they just kind of chipped away at the lead and stuff. They didn't make any big runs, but just kind of chipped away with their offensive talent, and they finally got the game tied. But the Bulldogs, no panic in them, and got the ball to Jerron Lane a couple of times and scored, and then DJ with the hook in the lane to give Asheville the lead by 2, and then good stops down the way as well.
Well, Gardner-Webb's a good basketball team. They've got good players. They're veteran players. Played with each other for quite a while now. Dante Harper, Tyler Strange, got a transfer from Texas A&M, and Najee Hibbert. Jerome Hill is a young player that's playing well for them. They've got a good team, and picked to finish second in the Big South Conference in the preseason prediction. So going down there and winning at their place was not going to be an easy task. We started out a little slow, but I was really proud of our guys. They stuck together and a big team win for us.
And Coach, you think about Gardner-Webb last year. Gardner-Webb knocked us off twice, and both were key losses. I think early in the season we had some good momentum going after the wins at Northeastern, at St. John's. The only loss in the stretch was in overtime to Charlotte, and they knocked us off pretty good down there and stuff. Really beat us on the boards, and then that crushing loss at Kimmel Arena. Again, Asheville had a pretty good lead in that one and stuff, and they came back and won. And in both those games, rebounding was they really out-rebounded us, and they really did a number on us. But last week at Gardner-Webb, I think Gardner-Webb had a slight edge by one. Bulldogs much better job on the boards.
Well, just two different teams. Even though they've got some returning players, and so do we, it's just they do things differently. We're doing some things differently. New faces in the program. As I mentioned, they've got a transfer that's now eligible. We're relying on a lot of freshmen to help us. So it's kind of just two different teams. They've also got a new coach down at Gardner-Webb. You do look at the history between the two programs, but I was proud again of what we did while we were down there in Gardner-Webb. It just showed a lot of toughness to get down 14 or 15 points on the road. Some teams can kind of throw in the towel, and so we stayed with it, and not an easy environment to play in. And so good win for us.
And Jerron Lane, we've talked about him a little bit, though, but 26 points, 19 the second half. Got off a bit of a slow start like the Bulldogs did, but he was almost unstoppable in the second half.
When Jerron's aggressive, he's very tough to handle. He's sometimes almost a little too unselfish. He's just got such a high basketball IQ. He can pass the ball, he rebounds the ball, he can shoot the ball. He just does so many things really well that he can be a little too passive for us, and we need for him to be aggressive, particularly on the offensive end. And that game he was, and his stats and our result showed.
All right, UNC Asheville Bulldogs had their first Big South Conference home game against Presbyterian College. We'll look back at those highlights right after this UNC Asheville Bulldog update timeout.
If you sometimes take the long route just to see what you might discover, if you enjoy finding the art in science and the science in art, if you want to design a career and not just find a job, if you won't give up until you figure it out, then we have just the place for you. University of North Carolina, Asheville.
There's a place where past vacation memories are talked about and shared for a lifetime, where new experiences never disappoint, and where the only thing better than visiting is coming back again. Visit Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. 60 miles of picture-perfect beachline will take your breath away, but leave your wallet happy, because you shouldn't have to sacrifice on your family vacation. Visit Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Experience so much more for so much less, and leave with memories to last a lifetime.
Welcome back to UNC Asheville Bulldog Update. I'm Mike Gorlin with head men's basketball coach Nick McDevitt, and coached Bulldogs 17-1 in Big South Conference opening games, 16-1 with you as a player, assistant coach, and now a head coach. And the one we lost, we should have won at Charles Southern 9 years ago. Bulldogs lost at the buzzer on a Trent draft shot at the buzzer, and it's just amazing how we're ready to play. That tough non-conference schedule's got to help.
It really does. Each year before the season starts, we ask the guys to talk about their team goals, their individual goals, and each year our team goals are to get to postseason play. And the only way to get to postseason play, the NCAA tournament or perhaps the NIT, is through conference play. We have to win our regular season or our tournament championship in order to play in postseason. And I think our teams have always bought into that, understood that if they want to play in postseason tournaments, you have to win your conference. And we've always kind of taken our game to another level once conference season rolls around. And as you mentioned, that tough non-conference schedule really helps prepare us for that.
Bulldogs had their first home game in Big South Conference play this past Saturday against Presbyterian College. Let's look at the highlights. UNC Asheville and the Blue Hose at Kimmel Arena. Good crowd on hand, Coach.
We've continued to have a good crowd on hand. I was very pleased with our crowd over the breaks as the students were gone, and now that they're back, we continue to expect to have lots of folks here in Kimmel Arena.
Good start by the Bulldogs in this one, Coach, as Asheville running the floor well there, quickly got up by 10 points.
Great finish there in transition by Jalil Roberts and DJ Cunningham. Yet another game showing he does have the ability to make that 15, 17-foot jumper. Great pass there by Jacques Mozili to Jerron Lane.
Jock Mozilla, he's really given you some help off the bench the past few games, hasn't he?
He and Jalil Roberts, along with Corey Littlejohn, are continuing to give our team a big boost. And those three young men are a big reason why this team's starting to come around and play really well right now.
Andrew Rousey with 18 points in the game on 10 shots, Coach. Nice game for him as well.
Very efficient game. To be able to get 18 points on 10 shots is pretty impressive. He has the ability to make all the easy shots and some of the tough ones, and this game against Presbyterian was no different.
Bulldogs do a good job going back door there. Bulldogs built the lead up to as much as 22 before Presbyterian made a mild rally. They've got some good shooters in that team, Coach.
They do. They've got several guys that can score the ball from deep, and when you've got several players that can make three-point shots, the game's really never in doubt.
Bulldogs did a good job here down the stretch as PC made some runs. Asheville got some stops when they had to, and again, Coach, made their free throws. Bulldogs lead the Big South in free throw percentage.
It did a nice job, as you mentioned, making free throws, easy baskets. There's a big-time offensive rebound and finish by Corey Littlejohn, and you just can't say enough about taking advantage of your easy opportunities. Most of your layups and your shots around the basket will be contested, most often by either big players or athletes. And Andrew and Corey and David have done a nice job of being able to finish in traffic, and we're continuing to make free throws at a pretty high mark, and you've got to take those free points.
Asheville wins the game 74-60 to go 2-0 in the Big South Conference for the second time in 3 years, and everybody contributed in this one, Coach. We talked about Andrew Rousey's 18 points, but DJ Cunningham 18 rebounds, ties a career high for him. And that's a Division I record since UNC Asheville went to Division I, the most rebounds by a UNC Asheville player in the Division I play. He just did a nice job on the boards.
DJ, what an incredible performance by him against Presbyterian. There's not too many guys out there that have the capability of getting 18 rebounds and 6 blocks in a game. And, you know, the only way you can get 18 is to try to get them all. The only way you come up with 6 blocks is to try to block them all. And, you know, he's doing an incredible job for us. I'm very happy for him, proud of him. He's been a huge part of our team now for the last 5 years, and really happy with what DJ's doing for us this season.
And Corey Littlejohn's first career double-double, 11 points, 11 rebounds. He just missed one last month against Bluefield as he came up 1 rebound short, but he is really giving you some instant energy off the bench.
Instant energy, and our other players feed off that. He's playing really hard, but under control. There's not too many guards out there that come up with 11 rebounds, and not all of his. You see sometimes where you see guards getting 8, 9, 10 rebounds. A lot of them are because of long shots, long misses, and they scoop up the long rebounds. Corey's sticking his nose in there around the basket amongst the trees and coming up with some big-time tip-ins and some tough rebounds. He is 6'2", maybe 6'3". He'd tell you he's 6'3", but he just has such incredible long arms. He has good timing. Reads the ball well coming off the rim, and is giving us a huge boost.
Bulldogs go to the coast of South Carolina, Coastal Carolina Wednesday night, and then Charleston Southern this afternoon at 5:30. Buccaneers a preseason pick to win the Big South. Asheville's had a lot of luck on the road in Big South Conference play over the years on Big South Conference road games. Charleston's not a place we've had much success. We've lost the last 3 times we've been there, have had leads at halftime in each of those games, and that's a tough place to play, and they're a pretty good team as well, aren't they?
That's the big reason it's tough to win on the road is most of the time not only is the environment tough and most people in the place are against you, but the team you're playing is good. And that's no different with Charleston Southern. They've got a lot of very talented players. Sa Nimley, Arlen Harper, 2 first-team all-league selections preseason. They've got tons of guys that can shoot the ball. They're not the biggest team, but they're really skilled, really quick. They all shoot the ball well from 3, and they're just a tough matchup problem for a lot of teams. And you know, winning at the Buck Dome is not an easy task.
All right, we'll see if the Bulldogs can do that. When join us next week for UNC Asheville Bulldog Update. But next we'll have UNC Asheville head women's basketball coach Brenda Mock-Kirkpatrick on UNC Asheville Bulldog Update. Welcome back to UNC Asheville Bulldog Update. Mike Gore with head women's basketball coach Brenda Kirkpatrick, and a very successful trip to Virginia, Coach. 2 wins over Longwood and Radford. Had both games all the way, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, no problems. It was easy, not stressful at all, everything we expected it to be. Actually, that last part is true. It was everything we expected it to be because they were 2 really hard-fought road wins against 2 really good teams. I think Longwood had been underestimated coming in because of their conference record, but the truth of the matter is they didn't have 2 of their leading scorers, Daisha Brown and Raven Williams, who scored 17 and 18 against us. You know, so they had taken some losses when they didn't have their full arsenal. Clearly, you know, we jumped out to a great lead, but they battled back. They've got great guard play. They really pressured us into some turnovers, and credit to them for fighting back, and then credit to us, you know, for shutting the door on that comeback.
When this Longwood team is healthy, this is a team that went to the Big South Championship game last year and gave Liberty all it wanted. And then it's a team that beat Xavier at Xavier. And we know Xavier's a team that's an NCAA tournament play year after year, just missed going to the Final Four a couple years ago. So when this team is healthy, which you saw them, a healthy team, this is a dangerous club.
Well, absolutely. I mean, take for instance Gardner Webb. You know, most of our fans saw that that game, and they beat Gardner Webb 2 days after. You know, we handed them that 6-point loss. So, you know, they will. We've not heard the last from Longwood. You know, and unfortunately they're going to have to come here, and we're going to see them again. But you know, great win for us. Really hard fought, and then it's a road win. Absolutely. You know, and those are extremely difficult, especially this year when there's so much parity in our league.
All right, Coach, let's look at the happy highlights. UNC Asheville and Longwood playing up there, and our good friend Matt Pellegrin was up there to shoot some good highlights from this one, and Bulldog's off to a great start, Coach.
Well, Paige Love right there, and you're going to see several of her highlights because she had a career-high 22 points at Longwood. Really, our game plan was to let her attack. I had a discussion with her last week that I really wanted her to get more shot attempts, more attacks to the basket, and as you can see, she's doing that, along with our other players. There's Jada Brayboy finishing in the lane. But that was really our game plan, to be aggressive. And I'm really impressed. That's KJ Weaver with, you know, her play down the stretch. She's becoming more of an offensive threat. And then there's Old Faithful, Brittany Gwynn, you know, getting it done for us. She's playing the most minutes and obviously provides a lot of leadership and composure.
Paige trying for a half-court shot again, but
again,
not quite in the range, though. It needed to be a little farther out.
You know, and this has been an interesting year for Shanice, and I think that you're really going to see her progression along as you see her hitting that. She got into a little bit of a foul trouble on Thursday night, but here you're going to see her breaking the press and hitting a huge bucket for us, Mike, down the stretch. Had she not been in that foul trouble, I would have expected her numbers to be a little bit higher that game. But just super aggressive right there, and I think some pressure's off of Show to be the only scorer, obviously, and so she's really going to start finding her game down the stretch in conference play. And this is just like we drew it up here. Final play for the go-ahead there by 2, a step-back 3 from Paige Love.
That's just the way you drew it up, and here's Longwood trying to tie the game, and the Bulldogs get the rebound.
And Tiana Knuckles actually went to the line and hit 2 big free throws, you know, on that defensive rebound that she got that really iced the game for us. We'll take it.
Absolutely, Coach. Bulldogs won it 69-65. Paige Love a career-high 22 points. Tiana Knuckles 10 points and a career-high 12 rebounds. But everybody contributed this one. But Paige Love, you talked about it last week's show about you wanted Paige to be a little more aggressive and talked to her before this game. And boy, if it was only this easy all the time, just follow your advice.
Well, yeah, be coachable. Be coachable. I hope my kids are watching this. You know, and all of our kids are coachable and are making adjustments, and I think that's why you're seeing our progress in terms of wins and losses. But absolutely, we want Paige, and Paige is one of the most underrated players probably in our conference.
No question.
You know, wasn't really highly recruited, and I say that not to down her, but to give her praise, because she's worked really, really hard to get to this point. And not only is she working hard on the court, but she's off the court leading and doing the little things for us, and I think that's also a huge difference. Stepping up and being able to take that shot confidently. You know, you didn't see her hesitate at all. No. She wanted the basketball. And last year, you know, I was speaking about Shanice Jones, she was really the only kid that wanted the basketball in those situations. Now I've got 3 or 4 options in a tight game situation, which obviously we're going to be in a lot of close games.
And Coach, you built a 15-point first half lead. This may sound a little crazy, but you have to learn to play with the lead, and that's something you haven't done a lot of over the past 2 years. And there's something to learning how to do that. Oh,
absolutely. You know, and that's something we've been talking about. Obviously, we didn't have that comfort at Radford, but we really do need to learn how to mentally put our foot down on people, and that's not going to be easy. But instead of letting Longwood take the lead from us, you know, that should have been more of a 6 to 8 point victory rather than us coming from behind and then winning there at the end.
But the Bulls get the win 69-65, and we'll talk about UNC Asheville's game at Radford right after this UNC Asheville Bulldog update timeout.
Be a part of Myrtle Beach Madness. Go to visit myrtlebeach.com/Big South.
Welcome back to UNC Asheville Bulldog Update. Mike Gorworth, head women's basketball coach Brenda Mock Kirkpatrick. Coach, and the Bulldogs traveled from Longwood up to Radford, a team that's been struggling this year, but a team that you talked about last week was getting better and better with each game, and they got better in this game as they played the Bulldogs right down to the end, but Asheville gets the win.
Well, I talked to their coach, Mike McGuire, right after the game about how he was giving his teams opportunities to win. You know, and it's a little bit comparable to the situation we were in last year. You know, I think they're 2-12 now, and they do not have a Division I win. But the difference is, you know, Radford's really right in ball games. You know, they lost to Coastal Carolina by 1. They're tied with Winthrop at halftime. I think they ended up losing that game by 12. They give us all that we can handle and are up by 6, you know, with a little over, I think, 4 minutes to go in the game. So they're really in ball games. You can't underestimate Radford, and they will win a couple of conference games, in my opinion.
And Coach, what was impressive about this game is that you're behind for most of it, but never let them get away. And finally, you know, at the end, you know, the ball bounced right for us. UNC Asheville made plays when they had to make plays and stuff. And again, for a team that's learning how to win like this Bulldog team that was impressive.
Well, I credit that to Brittany Gwynn, Paige Love, and Leah Warmack especially. Those kids, you know, with about 3.5 minutes to go, were looking at each other going, all right, this is our time. You know, we need to make our run right now, and we're okay. And that's the biggest difference. There was no panic. No one hit the panic button in this game. And really, I felt that way, and I think the bench felt that way, that we, you know, stay steady, keep playing our game, and don't be affected by what they're doing, and stick to the game plan. And we did that to the end and pulled it out.
All right, Coach, let's look at the highlights from the Dedman Center on the campus of Radford University, UNC Asheville, in their blue uniforms taking on the Highlanders. And we get a bank shot early.
Yeah, we're working on that with Tiana. Bank shots from the elbow. But Tiana was really hot early. You know, was really big for us, and when she's on, she's on. So we really need to do a better job of getting her the ball in those situations. And proud of Jeannie Buckner. You know, she made a couple of huge plays in this game. Big 3 from her to begin the game in the first half.
And she did she had 2 big free throws for you too late in the game, didn't she?
Oh, absolutely, off of an offensive rebound. And you know, there's KJ doing what KJ does. She's leading the conference right now in block shots. One of the most prolific shot blockers I've ever coached. And, you know, we were fortunate enough to force Radford into some turnovers and easy layups, and that's something that's really helping our scoring. Shanice Jones, you know, right in the slot. That's something we worked on. We want to take pin and pitch threes. You know, and this is something, this was our game plan to get the Leah and KJ some touches, Tyler Smith some touches in the paint. And we're really attacking there, hit big buckets. Leah Warmack was really special in this game on both offense and defense.
Bulldogs trailed by 7 in each half, but kept on rallying.
Got to guard Paige Love. You know, she's a proven scorer now, and even though that's not part of her game, she's hitting it. And then there's Tyler Smith. You know, can't say enough about her spot minutes and how valuable they are to us. And bank shot again from Tiana Knuckles, folks. If you want to see the bank shots, come to Kimmel. Come to Kimmel today. And Paige Love, now that's more of her game, the attack mode to the basket.
Bulldogs really made plays down the stretch. There's Lee Warmack scoring.
And this is just going to be a great defensive play right here. You know, they don't have anyone back in transition. And again, another run out for us. And that's what we love. Easy buckets.
Huge bucket for Paige with under a minute to go. And then a big defensive play here as well.
Well, this is just a heads-up play by Brittany to go after the ball and get fouled. You know, she could have conceded because we gave up an offensive rebound, but I think that's one of the biggest differences between this year's team and last year's team is we're growing and staying mentally focused when we make a mistake.
The Bulldogs will go on and win this one, 68-61. Their first win at the Dedman Center in a couple of years. And the Bulldogs get their 4th conference win of the season in this one, Coach. And mentioned Jeannie Buckner a few minutes ago. She'd been out a couple games with a finger injury, but I thought played really well against Radford. And as we alluded to, the free throws and that big three, she made some big plays for us.
Well, Jeannie's a fighter. You know, she's a fighter, and she also strives for excellence no matter what she's doing. Tiddlywinks, cards, basketball, schoolwork. You know, she's a 4.0 student. Just amazing. And, you know, she's really a kid that understands the importance of defense, rebounding, and fulfilling your role. You know, Jeannie this year has not been a prolific scorer for us, and that's not what we're looking for. We just want the steady plays. And, I mean, Mike, that rebound was huge. The bench was fired up. And then she goes to the line with the broken finger and knocks down 2 huge free throws for us.
Yeah, Coach, you know, I think it was 2 Saturdays ago, you all were off, and I came back and I left something here and stuff to pick it up, and there it was, her all by herself shooting free throws here. You know, at like 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, and there she is shooting some free throws, and it paid off for knocking those big free throws down. Absolutely.
I mean, she's willing to put in the work, you know, and that's what not only Jeannie but everybody in this program is understanding is how much work it takes to win. I mean, those were really hard-fought wins, and now we know that nothing's going to come easy, you know. So we're learning and growing.
And this afternoon, a chance to get a big win and taking on the defending Big South Conference champion Liberty Flames, a team that's good again this year, Coach, and your thoughts on playing Liberty this afternoon?
Well, it's going to be an exciting game. I think we match up well in terms of our athleticism versus their style of play. However, they probably have a size advantage over us. You know, they're big once again. They have great outside shooting and really well coached. I mean, everybody knows Carrie Green is one of the greatest coaches in our league and has done a great job with that Liberty program. But it's a great opportunity for us, you know, and that's what we're doing this year is giving our kids opportunities to win, and I expect nothing different today.
UNC Asheville women's basketball team is home this afternoon against Liberty University. Game time is at 2 p.m. at Kimmel Arena. The men's basketball team at Charleston Southern at 5:30 p.m. tonight in a key Big South Conference battle down in Charleston. 2 special events we want you to put on your calendar. That's the Meet the Team night for the baseball team at Kimmel Arena on Saturday, February the 1st, starting at 5:30 p.m. And on February 15th, women's basketball team will have their annual Pink Game with a Women's Expo prior and a wine and cheese luncheon afterwards, and plus a fashion show. So make your plans for February the 1st and February the 15th. For more information, go to uncabulldogs.com. That's a wrap for today for UNC Asheville Bulldog Update. See you at Kimmel Arena this afternoon at 2 o'clock.